You work hard, you earn a salary, and before that money even touches your bank account, the system takes a massive cut, all while you're trying to pay off your car and build wealth with what is left over. And the crazy thing is, that is how 90% of people play the game of money. So many of us accept this because we think we have no other choice. You think that this is the cost of living in civilization. And sure, we need schools and roads. But the thing is, the system doesn't treat everyone the same. Not everyone plays by the same set of rules, and you don't need to either. So today, we're going into a whole new world. I'm going to show you how to switch from the default tax setting that keeps you broke to the settings that the wealthy use to build empires. We are going to cover the specific accounts, the write-offs, and exact strategy you need to stop losing your hard-earned money and start keeping it. To understand why you feel broke, you have to look at your paycheck. When you get a job offer, they tell you a number. They say, we'll pay you $70,000, and you accept it. You mentally spend that $70,000. But that number is a lie. The moment that money leaves your company, a chunk of it goes to the government, the tax code. Uncle Sam gets a cut. In 2026, if you are a single filer, the federal government takes a chunk. The state government takes a chunk, Social Security takes 6.2%, Medicare takes 1.45%. And by the time the money actually hits your bank account, your $70,000 now looks a lot more like $52,000. And the important thing to note here is that the tax code distinguishes between labor and capital. Labor is what you do, it's your job. Capital is what you own, it's your assets. Labor gets taxed first, it gets taxed heavily, and it gets taxed automatically. But capital gets treated differently. If you make money by selling a stock or a house, you play by a completely different set of rules. The rates are lower and the timing is up to you. And before we fix the problem, we need to fix a bug in your brain. A lot of us have this mental model that if we make more money at a higher paying job, we'll simply be taxed more. But what if I told you that you are wrong? Let me explain. You see, we have what we call a progressive tax system. It's kind of like a bunch of cups. First cup is the 10% cup. In 2026, this cup holds $12,400 for single filers. You fill that cup with your income. The government takes 10% of the water in that cup. And once that cup is full, the cup overflows into the second cup, the 12% cup. And the government takes 12% of the water in this cup. They don't go back to the first cup and demand more money. That first cup is sealed. It stays at 10% forever. So when you get a raise, you earn more money or move to a higher paying job, only the extra money goes into the higher cup. You never lose money by earning more. But here's the problem. Even if you understand the cups, you are still trapped. If you are just a regular employee, you have no way to stop the pouring. You get a standard deduction in 2026 that covers the first $16,100, but after that, you pay for every single drop. But what you really need is a hole in your cup. You need a way to divert the water into a different cup before the IRS can even take a sip. And that brings us to two systems. First, the United States tax code is massive. It's over 6,000 pages long. And if you read it, you realize something perhaps that's a little bit difficult to believe. That it's not designed to punish you. It is designed to incentivize you. So stay with me here, because the government wants a specific type of behavior. They want jobs, they want innovation, and they want housing. If you are an employee, you provide labor, and that's it. And while that's great, the government doesn't need to incentivize labor. You need to work to eat, so they tax you. But if you are a business owner, you provide value. You create things, you stimulate the economy, and so the government offers you a deal. They say, if you spend money to build your business, we will not tax that money. And this is what we call the ordinary and necessary rule. Imagine you want to buy a $3,000 laptop. If you are an employee, you have to earn about $4,000, pay $1,000 in taxes, and then use the remaining $3,000 to buy the laptop. But if you are a freelance video editor, you earn $3,000. You buy the laptop for $3,000 and your profit is zero. You pay zero taxes. And that means you just got a 25% discount on some tech by changing your status. And you don't even need a lawyer to do this. You don't need an LLC for the tax benefits, though you might want one later for legal protection. And you just need to be a sole proprietor. And you become a sole proprietor the moment you accept money for a service outside of a normal job. Did you sell a vintage jacket on eBay? You are a business. You stream on Twitch? You are also a business. Maybe you drive for Uber on weekends. You are also a business. And of course, there's a catch. You have to have what we call profit motive. And the IRS knows people try to cheat the system and that you want to call your video game addiction a business so you can write off your PS5. So they have the hobby loss rule. Basically, if you lose money for 3 years in a row, they call it a hobby and disallow your deductions. And the idea is that you have to actually try to make money. You need a separate bank account, you need to track receipts, and you need to operate like a real company. And if you do that, you can unlock this other world of taxes. Now let's talk about what you can do to decrease the amount of taxes in those cups we mentioned before. Most people know about the 401k. It's a great tool. In 2026, you can put $24,500 into it. And some employers will even match a portion of your contribution. But the main idea here is that contributing money to your 401k lowers your taxable income. And as great as the 401k is for most people, the 401k is locked away until the age of 59. But the solo 401k is better. The solo 401k is designed for a business with no employees other than the owner. It acknowledges a weird reality. You are both the employee and the employer. It's basically for those with a side hustle. And more importantly, it also means you can contribute twice. First, as the employee, you can contribute to the standard $24,500 through your 401k. And then as the employer, you can contribute up to roughly 20 to 25% of your business profit. And the total limit for 2026, $72,000. And just pause and process that number, $72,000. If you have a successful side hustle, maybe you write code, maybe you consult, and you make $80,000 a year from it, you can take $72,000 of that and put it into the solo 401k and invest it in the S&P 500. You just legally poured out $72,000 of taxable income from those cups. You essentially live tax-free for that year. This is the single most powerful wealth building tool available to the middle class, and almost no one uses it because they think business means renting an office. And before we even go into spending for our business, some other tax advantage accounts include the HSA, which is a savings account used for medical expenses like visits to the doctor or prescriptions. And you can contribute up to $4,400 in 2026. Then you have your traditional IRA, which is quite similar to your 401k, which you can open at any time. And in 2026, the contribution limit, or the amount you can reduce your taxable income, $7,500 if you're under 50. And if you are older than 50, you can make an additional $1,100 catch-up contribution for a total of $8,600. Now let's talk about spending. Let's talk about Section 179. This is the Hummer loophole, and you might have heard of it. Real estate agents buying massive SUVs and writing them off. And here's how it works. Usually when a business buys a piece of equipment, they have to depreciate it over years. You get a small tax break every single year. But Section 179 breaks that rule. It allows you to deduct the entire purchase price in the year you buy it. Unless it's a heavy SUV, which has a specific cap, most equipment is fully deductible. And in 2026, that limit is over $2.5 million. And unless you are buying a factory, you probably won't hit that limit. That means if you buy a $4,000 camera setup for your YouTube channel on December 31st, you reduce your taxable income for that year by $4,000. You get the gear, you get the tax break, as long as it's a qualified business expense. And apply this to your life. Your home office, deductible. Your internet bill, deductible. And your cell phone, deductible. You convert your lifestyle into a business operation. Now let's look at bigger and more cups. Most people see debt as bad and assets as good. But people like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett often pay a lower effective tax rate than their employees or secretaries. They use a strategy called buy, borrow, die. And to understand this, you have to understand the difference between income and wealth. Income is the water flowing in the cups. It gets taxed. And wealth is the frozen block of ice. It sits there, it grows. But until you melt it, until you sell it, it's not taxed. Let's say you bought $10,000 worth of Nvidia stock 5 years ago, and today it's worth $100,000. But the thing is, you have a problem. You are rich on paper, but you have no cash. Maybe you want to buy a car. The car costs, say, $50,000. If you do it the normal way, you sell $50,000 worth of stock, and that triggers capital gain tax. You lose 15% immediately, and you have to sell even more stock just to pay the tax. You are melting your ice. And the wealthy, they don't do this. They walk into a bank and they say, look at my $100,000 in stock. I'm not going to sell it, I'm going to pledge it as collateral. The bank says, great, we'll give you what we call an SBLOC, or a securities-backed line of credit. They loan you $50,000 of cash. And here's the magic trick. Debt is not income. You do not pay taxes on a loan. The IRS doesn't count that $50,000 as income. Instead, it's tax-free cash. But wait, you have to pay interest, right? And the answer is yes. Let's say the interest rate is 6%, and you owe the bank $3,000 a year. But your stock, it's still invested, it's still growing. And historically, the market returns about 10% a year. So your $100,000 in stock grows by $10,000. You pay the bank $3,000 in interest, and you made $7,000 in profit while spending the money. And this is what we call arbitrage. You're playing the spread between the cost of debt and the growth of assets. So we bought and we borrowed, and the die part, when you die, your assets get a step up in basis. Your heirs inherit the stock at the current value, and all the capital gains tax from your lifetime vanishes. And this is how dynastic wealth works. They never sell, they only borrow. So right about now, you might be thinking, okay, I need to file my taxes, it's almost April yet again. And you probably go straight to TurboTax. And normally that's fine. It's beautiful, it's easy, and it's incredibly expensive if you have a side hustle. But since you know all about all these new tricks, TurboTax sees a whale. You enter one form for your freelance gig, and they force you to upgrade to premium. And that can cost you $120 or more. And you are paying a fear tax. You are paying them because you are afraid of making a mistake. But little do most people know, there are other options. The first option is FreeTaxUSA, and I know the name sounds a little bit fake. The website looks like it was built in 2008, but it is the hidden gem of the internet. Federal filing is free. State filing is $16. If you use TurboTax, you would pay $150, and with FreeTaxUSA, you pay $16. And the math is identical, the forms are the same, you just aren't paying for the fancy animations. And option B is Cash App taxes. If you want a modern app and refuse to pay even $15, use this. It's completely free because they want you into their ecosystem. It can be a little clunky for complex stuff, but for a simple YouTuber or an Uber driver, it's perfect. Option C is a human CPA. If you are making real money, over $100,000 in side hustle income, stop using software and hire a human. Software is reactive. You put numbers in, it spits numbers out. But a good CPA is proactive. They call you in December and tell you to buy a car to wipe out your tax bill. A CPA costs money, but if they find one strategy that saves you $5,000, then they are free. So given all of this, the system feels rigged. But it's not rigged against you personally. It's rigged against a specific type of economic behavior, and that is consumption. The tax code punishes consumers. It taxes you when you earn, and it taxes you when you spend. And the tax code rewards producers. It allows you to spend pre-tax. It allows you to defer taxes for decades. And you can't change the laws or rewrite the 6,000 pages of the IRS code, but you can change your behavior and take advantage of the rules in place and how you view every tax season. And if you enjoy videos like this mixture of personal finance and consumerism, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. Thank you very much for watching. And once you save all that money on taxes, do not go blow it on subscriptions. So watch this video to see why and how your retirement is being nickel and dimed away.